So yeah, let's get this thing rolling. So hello, whoever's watching over there, and thanks everybody for joining us here. I'm Claudio.
My name is Matthew Wright.
Matthew, what are we doing here? What do we do?
We are doing episode 22
22.
of Reflective Practice Radio. What do we do at Reflective Practice Radio?
Well, since we here call ourselves improvers, right? We work at a company called Improving, and we are all about the AI these days, and things are happening really fast.
Yes.
And this is a moment that we really cherish when we get to slow down. Okay, what's up? Let's be humans a little bit and move at our normal speed,
Yes.
which is like
Human speed.
human speed. Right? Let's slow down. So what have you been practicing, and reflecting on?
Touching more grass.
Tell me more about it.
Literally cutting grass. And I've
Okay.
been mentioning this over the past few episodes of me cleaning my equipment. So that topic was in the spirit of maintenance. I have a little weed eater. I don't have a lawnmower, unfortunately. So cutting grass is a laborious process for me. And it takes much longer than it would if I had a lawnmower. But I get to be more reflective in this practice. I'm burning through lots and lots of string. I am attracting wild animals who want to follow me because as I cut the grass lower, birds want to peck at the, grub that they can now see. And in the last time I was cutting grass, I noticed a relationship form between me and a bird. Yes, this bird followed me from the backyard to the front yard and picking up grub. And obviously, I cannot speak bird language. This bird cannot speak my language. Yet, a relationship was formed. It was one that did not require language. As I would cut, he would eat.
That.
So the crow. So you have a Cinderella moment?
Not a Cinderella moment.
I mean, you're hanging out with birds now, being your buddies.
Well, I was cutting grass, and the bird came, hung out with me.
There you
And
go.
we're buddies.
See,
Oh,
it is a
man.
Cinderella moment.
Maybe.
That's gonna be awesome.
Thanks for sharing that because that made me think.
Yes.
2020, when the pandemic started, we were all working from home. That was just a few months after we got the cat to the house. We adopted a cat, right? And I remember working from home, like focused, doing my Pomodoro times and fully focused there. But then whenever I had either my 5-minute breaks or the 25-minute breaks, I would just walk up to the cat, and the cat was getting used to the house and the humans around the house. So she would always stay like in the same spot, just chill there, like what are people doing? But whenever I walked up, or she would come out of the thing where she used to stay for me to pet her, she would just hang out with me for a little bit and then go back to doing her thing, which is not doing anything.
Yes.
And I would do my thing. But that moment, that just like, okay, stop everything you are doing right now and just do this one thing that has like no meaning, right? To productivity or anything like that. But I really always remember those kinds of moments. So as I'm like overwhelmed by everything, what is the equivalent to that? Like nowadays, like right now, I'm here, I'm working here in the office. The cat's not there. So that's not like a focal point for me to say,
Yes.
that's going to be my mindful moment. What is that? What's the equivalent to that?
What is the equivalent?
Yeah.
What is your cat's name?
Valerie.
Do you still have it?
Yep.
I have 2 cats, Olivia and Oliver.
Okay.
1 boy, 1 girl. What's your favorite? Maybe they'll watch this, so I shouldn't say. But
If you had to choose.
if I had to choose, it would be Olivia because we had her first. Back in 2020, during the pandemic, our car got stolen, and we had a rental. And the night that we got this rental, we heard this small kitten screaming in the bush that is near my home. So I get my machete, I go outside, and I start to cut it away because I can tell it's in there, but I couldn't see it. I'm also being very careful not to slice the thing up. It finally emerges. It's a tiny gray kitten. And she's very reluctant to come with us, but we finally coax her into the house. And from that moment, she's been with us.
That delivery system strikes again.
Oliver came the following year when my daughter was born. And we didn't want to have a cat without having another kitten for it to play with. Thought that would be a little cruel. So we got Oliver and adopted him. Both were rescues. And I really enjoy them. But to the question, I always look for moments. Even you said that don't have any meaning. I would reframe that to say that don't have any obvious meaning. And I like to look for meaning in those moments.
Love it. Yeah.
And a lot of this is just me doing imagination play because, again, like the relationship with me and the bird, it's me projecting a relationship onto the bird. The bird's like, hey, you keep cutting, I'll keep eating. Which is definitionally a relationship of some sort.
Keep working for me. Woo, I love you, buddy.
I like to let my imagination play to find more meaning in those moments. And
I love it.
ironically, it's a practice of mindfulness.
Yes. Oh, I love it. Yeah, I love it. And it's for the folks joining us here today, we run these experiments, right? So we started doing this in person here at the office, and then every once in a while we are working from home. We do that in that way. And you brought up a few times like, well, maybe as we're doing here in the office, maybe we should invite others to come in. And if you don't mind, I would love for you to explain why doing this is important to you and how it has been helping you doing these unscripted conversations that go out public.
As you know, I love music. I love to play music. I love to listen to music. And I love the idea of improvisation. There was an Improving You course once upon a time where we would bring somebody in to teach a course on improvisation. Being intentional about not having a plan for what we're going to say in these meetings allows me to do some improvisation. This is me pulling from what I've been thinking about over the week, who I've been talking to, what we've shared, ideas, etc. And I'm able to do that with more fluency. I'm not a person who likes to talk a whole lot. I like to be quiet and contemplative. That's who I am by nature. So being in contexts like this, where I have to speak at length about a given topic or whatever comes up, it's like exercise to me. So while we put this on YouTube, I don't care if anybody watches it because the real value is me doing the thing and getting better at doing it.
Yeah, because when it comes time to like having people watching, attending to a talk, whatever, it's like I've done that a million times. It doesn't matter if there is somebody watching or not. I've done it.
I mean, we're 22 episodes in, which is not a lot of time in the grand scheme of things, but right now I feel very comfortable sitting here. I mean, of course, I'm surrounded by people who I know,
Right.
but no discomfort. If this was episode 1, might not be as nice for me.
Well, and think about it. Even going into episode 1, you also felt like natural by then because we had been having the conversations off camera, if you will,
Sure.
to prepare for a talk that we gave together last year.
That's good.
So you're already practicing that. Let's show up and just talk about something.
Sure. But even in that context, like when we usually meet for RPR, Reflective Practice Radio, we meet in a small room on the other side of the office. No one sees us. We're in a very intimate setting. There's a whiteboard and some cameras. And it's really easy because it's just like us sitting in any other room. But there just happens to be a camera rolling and we just talk.
Yeah.
And I enjoy that experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. It's I like the way you mentioned it because I'm also a hobbyist musician, right? But I suck at improvisation with music. For me, music's like I'm by myself playing my guitar, doodling around for hours. And it's like, oh, I like that part. Let me record because I'm not going to remember. Yeah. And then I start like putting it together. That's great. If I'm working in a band setting, I bring my ideas that I've already worked through myself. It's like, okay, guys, this is what I have.
Yeah.
Now give me feedback. Let's assemble this piece together. Now, if people just say, oh, pick up the instruments and let's just jam, like
I do.
I'm going to suck. Like that is not something that I practice much that I actually enjoy doing.
Well, let me ask you this. Does it depend on which instrument you're on? For example, if someone invited you to a jam session and said, okay, you get to be on the drums, would it be an easier experience?
Yes.
Tell me why.
Because drums, I go by the rhythm, which being Brazilian born, it's kind of like in me. Brazilians will like tap anything and make music out of it, right? So that would be easier than like picking up the guitar, and I don't have the music theory.
Have you played the drums before? Like effect, more than just like fucked around?
Oh yeah. I started when I picked up drums as an instrument. It was very easy for me to play. I started picking up just like sitting in a drum kit and just going like, oh, if I'm doing this, now I have the pieces. Oh, how do they connect? It came naturally. Like I can do the limbs independence. Like I'm doing one thing with this hand and another thing here, and with the like that came kind of naturally to me. So when I sat behind the drum kit and started practicing that more, that part came naturally. But like on the guitar, it has been mostly self-taught. So it's like, okay, I'm playing the thing. This is how I'm hearing. I'm listening to my favorite band. And I think this is what I'm hearing, right? But if somebody says, oh, here, I'm going to throw you this piece of music that is in A minor 7, diminished, whatever, go. I'm like, I can't. Oh, you can play a minor third or whatever it is. It's like, I cannot relate. So what I need to do is to pick up my guitar, play something, say, does it sound right? And I have to play it for like, if it's a 5-minute piece, I'll play that for like an hour, messing around to see, okay, what are the scales that I know that could fit there to make it sound something that doesn't go like, that's it. So that's why for me, it's much harder. And if you have like, you have a bass player, you have a guitarist, you have somebody on the keyboard and they say, okay, here's a guitar, improvise over that. The key is this, like the key is whatever that didn't resonate with me. Keep playing. I'm going to play some really bad notes until I find something that's like, oh, if I stay within this
window, yeah.
So that's the part that just makes me uncomfortable because for the other people, they're not improvising. They're waiting for me to catch up and find, oh, that might work.
Yes. Terrence.
But so just playing on this idea. So is it just the music theory in general, but like suppose if I go like, yeah, we're gonna play this in the key of A, but it's a 1-3-5 scale, would you be able to pick it up then? It's like sort of
I may like slowly do that, but it's not like, for me, it's not enjoyable. I don't enjoy performing music like that.
okay.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I like composing the pieces, trying to make them work together, and then creating the piece. Like, this is the piece I created. This is what I enjoy playing.
You don't want to perform, you want to play.
Oh,
I want to write.
it's a different process he's talking about.
It is a different process because that's the thing. I understand that there are people that they thrive on the jamming part. They really want to not know what's going to get thrown at them.
Yeah.
They want to play a different piece every single night. There are some of my favorite musicians. Like I struggle to like learn their guitar leads, for instance, to play it because I like the way it sounds, the way it was written and performed for that recording. But they never play the same piece live, or they play like the main hooks, like the things that people will recognize.
But different solo.
But it's a whole different story altogether because that's what they need for them in their words to keep things interesting. And I could see that. Like if you're a touring musician who's been doing that for 20 years, playing the same song every single night to like make it a little bit more interesting for me. That's not my case. So when I pick it up to play, it's like I want to play exactly the way I wrote it. And then maybe making it sound better, smoother as I'm playing. I'm squeezing those notes out.
Figuring out the mechanics.
Figuring out the mechanics in a way to make it look smooth, right? It's like, oh, it's coming out effortless. Like, so it's the effortlessly focused. That is my sweet spot.
Those guys might not necessarily be changing every night. They might be doing the same improv through the whole tour through that leg, then practice for a week and then write a new improv and do that for the next leg. There are guys that do that.
There are guys who do that 100%.
So it's not, so it could also be, there are some people like one group, Dream Theater, I know they just change things every night, but they're on a different level than other musicians.
But they do not improvise. So here's what they do. So Dream Theater, that's a perfect example, right? They play the music like epic pieces. They play exactly the way it was written and recorded because their fan base, if there's one note that's like, that's not what you recorded, that fan base is like, no, you have to play it exactly. So what they do to tap into the, if I want to improvise, they add sections to the music. They extend the song to do the improvisation, and then they bring it back to exactly how it was recorded.
Whereas like for Primus is also one of my favorite bands too.
Yeah.
Those guys are like, nah, we're just gonna play the whole Rush album today and have fun.
That's what we do, yeah.
And then it's like, y'all are just gonna have to listen to it. Y'all paid the $10. It's gonna be a great day.
Eric, I saw you trying to jump in.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's the difference between jazz and like classical, right?
Yes.
Are you playing a jazz band or are you playing like Beethoven?
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
you're not gonna go watch someone play Beethoven and expect improv. Like,
Yeah.
Correct. And you know what? It's interesting. Thanks for bringing that up because, like, I like playing some classical pieces on the acoustic guitar, right? On the classic guitar. I'm not great at it, but I enjoy playing it. So I remember like playing this one piece by Bach, and I'm like, okay, it sounds to me kind of like the thing, right? And then I watched this video of a famous, I think he was a British classic guitar, and he was like coaching other players. So the students would play a piece, complex piece, right?
Real time feedback.
Well, and they would play the piece. I'm like, wow, mind blown.
Yeah.
And then the guy would start giving the feedback. I'm like, wow, he was picking on like it's the fine tuning.
Yeah.
It's like they are playing exactly the same notes, exactly the same time, but the way that they are pressing on the string, on the frets, and squeezing it just enough, that's what makes them thrive. It's like
Do y'all know who Victor Wooten is?
Yes, bass player.
Yeah, that dude, I saw him him and Thundercat were talking one day about bass playing, and they were just talking about the random harmonic. So Victor Wooten, he does this thing where it's like, he can play a whole thing just by tuning and doing the harmonics for the whole song. Right. And then he was talking about, well, if I wanted to come in, I'm going to do something either counteractively that's going to sound weird, but I'm going to drop out in this way in order to make you sound better.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, so he has this different way of thinking about it. Is like, he can go with the theory of just that versus like what's in the elements of the room. So it's opposed to just what he's doing in the moment. He's also thinking about it in a different way. He's like, it's not my job to make me look good. It's my job to make you look good. So flipping it out one way or the other. Yeah, it's just a different style of how you want to play or lead.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it gets going down music rabbit holes. You can go down for weeks at this time.
I like his approach, Wooten. He doesn't believe in the idea of a wrong note. So in the video you might be referencing, he's not playing with a bass player, he's on bass and someone else is on the guitar, electric. And he's like, play this phrase. The guy's playing the phrase. He's like, I'm going to try to play a bad note. And he does it in such a way where this off note sounds good because he knows how to contextualize it, given the expression or how long he holds a note, or maybe it's a passing note that is not within that scale.
That is the video I'm referencing.
I was watching
Transpose the one with him and Thundercat at the same point.
Yeah, I was watching rewatching an interview with former Megadeth lead guitar player Marty Friedman,
Okay.
and he was explaining exactly that. He said, when people say bad note, it's like, why is it a bad note? I'll play it anyway, because he will do things like that. Like he will start the solo bending into a wrong note because it brings tension.
Yes.
It will make people go like, and then he resolves the note. You're like, oh, that
It's okay.
whatever was bad. It's like, and it created just the right tension. And he showed how he plays that throughout the lead, oftentimes playing the wrong note, but only to bring that tension and then resolving.
Yes.
If you don't resolve the note, then you just stay in suspense, like, okay, what's happening? Something is wrong, but you need that release.
Yes.
That is what.
I mean, we're all trained in music, like watching movies in the way like the composers play with sound. You understand when a note has this tension, even if you have no music theory.
Yes.
You know where the home key is because it was written in such a way where it's very obvious, even if you don't have the language to express that. So when there is this tension, you know that it needs to be released. Not just that, but you know where it's going to resolve to.
Right. Yeah.
When I want to say in middle school, I took a class for guitar, and our teacher in school was like, happy notes, sad notes, happy chords, sad chords. That's the easier way to start teaching people music theory.
Yeah. Major, minor.
Right. It's just think about what makes you happy, what makes you sad, and then think about how to get the tension inside of there and that. And so even if you didn't have that knowledge, like if you look at like So like my nephew, he's a drummer now in high school, but when he was like 4, you just hear music and be like, oh, that's happy music. Oh, that's sad music. It's like, okay, well, there you go. That's the theory. Yep. Work.
Disney does a great job of this teaching kids.
Disney does so many things.
I wonder how much of that is trained, right? That you're trained to say that this is sad or this is happy. How much is innate versus how much is trained?
What's the
I see where you're
And
heading.
the reason I'm asking that is because music as when we generally talk about music and music theory, we're talking about Western
Westerns. That's right.
Yeah.
12 scales, things like that, right?
Mhm.
All the theory around that. There are other musical scales that have notes in between our notes
Serotonin.
have the same, still have structure and have different structures that we physically can't represent in scales,
Correct.
right? That are still right notes that have different feelings invoked in them, whether
Yeah.
you've been trained on it or not.
Right.
Right. And that's where, so it's like hearing music that, oh, well, that's a sad song is like, well, if I've never heard that system, is it still sad? Or am I
Well, to be-
taking what I've learned as a sad progression?
And projecting it onto that.
Well, like especially if you listen to a lot of Bollywood or Hindi music in general, or like Eastern Asian. But I think since we were talking about this, because you're right in that sense. And then if you listen to like Ray music or anything from Africa, it does get into the semitonals.
Right. But how
Um,
much of that is, if you were to go to,
well, are you asking the concept from, are we thinking about this from Eurocentricity, or are you thinking about this just in this discussion as far as what we've talked
from
about?
the mechanics of how our ears pick up sound to how it translates into the emotions we feel as humans?
Yes.
Because I don't know of any studies, right, that exist that have said this does or
These
does not.
skills are sad.
Now,
Yeah.
there have been some studies around like vision, right, and language and how that affects our perception of the world. There's one study that I read that I like quoting a lot that goes around colors.
Mhm.
And so we have green and blue as words for colors. Some cultures that don't have the differentiation words for blue, you'll show them visually different colors and they can't pick out the different one. Because to them, even though
It's the same
even though
color.
their eyeballs are receiving different color,
Mhm.
right? To them, it's the same color. And that mentally, they don't process those as different colors. It's all green. But you show them a slightly different shade of green, and we look at it and go, well, I can't tell which one's green. And they're like, that one,
Yes.
every time. Because they've experienced the way they've interpreted their eye signals is that is different, right? And I wonder how much of that is similar with music.
It's
In
funny
terms
that you
of, like-
mentioned. It reminds me of somebody I know years ago. There was this one song where the singer on the first verse would sing this one note, and then the bridge, the chorus would come around, and then the second verse, similar melody, but one octave up.
Yes.
I had this someone who could not tell it was the same note, an octave higher. It's like the person could not say, oh, that's like higher, lower. It's the same note. It's exactly the same note that the person is singing. It's like, but you cannot tell it's a different octave. I can't. That blew me away.
There are many songs like this that use this technique. One from Beyonce, for example, comes to mind, Love on Top. And at the end of a song, she goes up a half note every single time. Stevie Wonder does this in a lot of his music, where he goes up one half note. And if you hear this like right away, it is obvious. But if the first verse is in one note and the second verse is in a half note or a whole note,
But that's different. That's different.
it is different. It's more about the distance of time that passes before you hear this difference, the key change, if you will.
Well, so
Well,
Claudio's-
key change is one thing, like a third up or something. That's the thing. But when it's a perfect octave,
This,
that's what I'm saying. It's a perfect octave, and the
Yes.
person could not tell them that they were different notes
Yeah.
or in different octaves.
and that's 8 notes away from the original. Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It was like, you can tell it that it's higher than the
Yeah.
previous one.
Hmm.
Yeah, that threw me off.
Well, and along the same vein, right? Like the same note, right? Like A minor is a note.
Yes.
And if you play that surrounded by whole notes, right? In C major, for instance, A minor sounds wrong.
Yeah.
But if you play A minor just on its own as a chord in the A minor scale, it doesn't necessarily sound wrong or sad or whatever.
That's a
right?
conversation about context.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just that.
Well,
but
like
also
it is context. So, but it's context, right?
Yeah.
The note you're hearing in context with the other notes that have been played recently
Right.
makes that note, when you hear it, sound a certain way.
Right, but there is a difference between chords, and then you have like diminished chords. And then,
Right, but even if it's not a
well,
chord,
right,
I
but
play-
what you were talking about is if you put them together, some people will be able to hear it because of how the chord works, and they'll hear that it's off.
Yeah.
Versus not being able to tell. So, okay.
Yeah,
Look,
you're right.
there's okay. I'm trying to get. There's the actual hertz note of inside the sound scale.
correct.
And then the perception of that to the to the musical scale.
Depending on what notes and how
Right.
which fifths you're playing next to that will make it sound happier.
Right, exactly. So
Because you can play an A minor as a major chord, and that sounds different than playing an A minor after you've played a C major chord, a major chord in C major.
oh yeah,
Like it's the same hertz, it's the same thing. The context around it changes it,
right.
Which would make the A minor sound wrong.
right? Or sad or whatever,
Yes.
because we've been trained.
Right. And then going to your when you brought up Eastern music and then the idea of scales, it's still the same hertz. It's just a matter of interpretation inside of
Because we allow say subtotal hertzes next to those notes.
right.
Yeah,
That
and
note sounds differently. It has different weight.
yeah, the intent is interesting because one of my favorite songs by Deep Purple called Soldier of Fortune, for the most part, whenever the G chord is played, is the G minor. It's always a G minor. The whole song has this sad feeling. The very last chord played, it's a G major.
Mhm.
So you're feeling down throughout the whole thing with the storytelling part of the singer. And then the very last chord, it has that shift.
It's like daybreak.
Well, I mean, that's
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
kind of think about it. It's like it's kind of optimist for a song about mercenaries.
Yeah, making that switch.
But I like your question, Eric. How do we know that this is sad? And I bring up Disney because they do an excellent job of teaching us.
Yeah, but I mean, there were people that thought
That's
music was sad before.
Well, sure. This is not to say that they were the catalyst of this, but they're extending an existing tradition.
They definitely milked the system by having your sensory overload, by having all of it together, by knowing, let's play a minor song when Abby's mom gets shot. Yeah, do
Yeah.
that. There you go.
Right. If you were
Kids
to
when they're young.
relaunch Bambi,
Right.
you were just to flip every musical cue
From
it's minor, it's major,
exactly,
major, it's minor.
exactly.
And then you were to take a kid that's never seen the original or any other Disney movie and
Yeah.
show them this new inverted Bambi.
Right.
Are they going to associate major chords with sad scenes?
I would imagine
Like,
so.
that's a sad sound.
Wait, are you, okay, this might be a little bit too far out there for this conversation. All right. Do y'all know about Dark Side of the Moon and Wizard of Oz?
Yes, that's coincidence.
That if you play it on the third war of the
Yeah.
that gym, then it's gonna sync up with the movie.
That's
It'll be that bad,
coincidence.
man.
That's coincidence. That's not societal traits.
Well, no, they say it's coincidence, but I'm convinced those dudes just pretended it was coincidence and just had a whole bunch of thinking and figuring it out with a whole bunch of recordings. Like those guys were just joking with you the whole time.
So I'll try to bring us.
Sorry.
No,
All
it's
good,
all
all good, all good, all
good.
good.
This is what
This
we
is
do
what we
in
do.
this conversation because
Yeah.
so we started there talking about okay, we do this because the improvisational skills of showing up and
Yeah.
having a conversation on something you haven't prepared
For
for,
the muscle.
right? We went into music because it's a way to improvise. And I remember years ago when I took some improv classes, for me, it was very specifically to solve a problem where a lot of people see me giving talks and they think, well, you can just show up and give a talks out of thin air. It's like, no. The talks are prepared. They are designed ahead of time.
Yes.
I know the structure of what I want to present. I know what the milestones are, where I want to generate some sort of feeling like, yeah, I've run into that same problem. And then that is a great solution. Like you design for that experience. Same thing with like music. I want to make it sound like, big at the beginning and then go mellow and then bring it back up. You want to have that kind of variety. So I thought, well, if I do need to show up and give a talk about, maybe it is something that I could talk about because I may have a previous experience and everything, but I haven't prepared for the talk and I do it.
Yes.
Or if I have curveballs that take me outside of it, that's where I took the improv classes. And because I thought, well, it's about thinking faster, right? But then during that time when I was doing some research, it's not about thinking faster. It's about asking what else is there. So if you're presented with this can, don't just focus on this. You go like, okay, I have this can. What else is true? There is a table. The can is on the table. It's open. There's soda in there. There's people around me. Or maybe, and then you can be playful with that.
Yes.
It is full. It is not. Half full, half empty. So it was this taking that one step behind to see what else is there.
Yes.
And then improvising for that. That was a big thing for me. So since then, it has become a little bit easier for me to like create talks a little bit faster because of that. Me taking a few steps back and say, okay, what else am I working with here? And then go from there.
And what does go from there mean? Well, this is a leading question because the way that I'm receiving that is you look for the story that needs to be told, given what you have in your environment. And you go from there to craft the story. How much time did you have to prepare for your event yesterday? Or the presentation that you gave at Kids Table?
Oh, none. 0 time prepared. Why? Because I have given several talks on that topic in the past.
Yeah.
And for those talks I used to spend, I kid you not, for a 1-hour talk, about 40 hours preparing for it. That's like, I needed that time. I needed to sit with the content, get all of my ideas out in front of me, whether those were like notes or files on whatever. I need to see everything that's up here right now, racing thoughts. I need to see them in front of me and say, well, it's going to be a 1-hour talk. Maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe I shouldn't do this. Okay, this is what I need to share. But then the benefit of doing that was that when I showed up, I was always over prepared. So if people threw questions at me, maybe I didn't have on the content that made the final cut, but I had prepared for that because I could probably, like, it was a 1-hour talk. I could talk for 4 hours. I have that extra material. So
not 8 hours.
maybe.
But it sounds like a thing, but like, if you know the material,
Right.
like you can talk for as long as you need because it's not a formulated presentation, right? Like when I've made talks, the majority of the time is building a PowerPoint slide deck. Not because I want the PowerPoint slide deck, but because it's expected material for a talk. Like I've given like Git training, right? And I would love just to sit down with people. It's a 4-hour long class. Everyone pop your laptops open and let's play with Git. Like we're going to learn Git by doing. But no, you need a PowerPoint slide deck. You need to have an agenda. You need to have example inputs and outputs in the slide deck rather than popping this open and just winging it, right? But like, there's some that are like, I think there's some aspect that's an expectation of that. But like, there's other talks I've given where the PowerPoint slide deck is 4 slides, and then it's like, all right, we're gonna pop open VS Code. We're gonna do something live, like.
So what's necessary there is not the slide deck, it's structure. It's letting the audience know where are we going? Why are you telling me that?
Yeah.
It's the idea of having a script that you're planning, even though you're live, you still have that. It's like writing a script for a play.
Well, but the difference is between writing a script for a play and writing an improv script. An improv, you're not like,
Well, improv isn't really scripted.
or a comedy, a stand-up routine. You got some like high-level points, but if someone jumps in or there's a joke that lands differently, you might pull on that thread and you're over there now.
Yes.
And you're like, when that thread's bored, I've got some things to jump back to.
Yeah.
I have some high-level points of like, yeah, I know that I always have these that I can jump back on. But if that thread is just keeps on going, we could play with that for like an hour. We can fill the whole set with that. It's like, it's being responsive versus being like, this is what I'm going to talk in 4 hours, and I have 15 minutes for this, and 30 minutes for this, and 12 minutes for this.
There are different styles of, so I've
Yeah.
seen it both ways. Like some comedians, like Carlin, for example, he would write every single word.
Yeah.
Every single joke, where he was going to stop, where he was going to start, where he was going to wait for the audience to catch up, this, that, the other.
Yeah.
And then others
Philosopher
would just
effect.
do, others would do it just by bullet points. And then this is where I want to go, this is where I go, this is how I'm going to think that day. So their jokes would be like different delivery every night, but the idea is they still have the same way, but it's just, yeah, I guess different styles for everybody, if you like. So,
Well, it's a different intent, right? If you, and
Yes.
cycling back to the music, right? If the intent is, I want to hear that, right? Yeah, that's what you listen to. And
Yeah.
you expect to hear exactly that. Or is it exploratory and creative?
Yeah, and it's yeah, that's exactly right. So, Matthew asked about like preparation for the talk to the kids table there. I was there talking for what, 2 hours, right?
Yeah, easy.
Zero preparation for that talk because I had spoken on the subject. I've been doing that for like the last 20 years. So that is a topic that's like, I need minimal preparation unless somebody says the audience will be CEOs at the company. You have 30 minutes to sell them the idea of behavior-driven development.
Yes.
Then I have all of this and I need to shrink it down to that. For yesterday, I had already had conversations with Alex and we had recorded our conversations. So what I did, I just leveraged AI, Notebook LM, say, create a slide deck with what I had the conversation with Alex. Here's a slide deck, and that's what I had up. It's like, let's just talk about what's coming up there because we have talked about that before.
so do you think that was because of,
It's comfort.
well, no, because I've seen Claudio give this talk many years, and I know that I had to bail a little early because I had meetings, but do you think what would change it more would be the time length or the audience?
Both.
No. Which one do you think is more important? To scale for, as far as after doing the improv and knowing this, because in your example, you said you got 30 minutes to present it to CEOs.
Yes.
Which one would influence more?
Both.
CEOs or more? Not, they both have a scale of more than 0. Or they each, but they're also not equal.
I think they might be because you have to adjust for both.
You have to adjust for both, but which one in this case would you think would be more, the time length or the audience?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Okay, so
Matthew's really thinking about this.
deep in thought.
I'm trying to listen intently.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, so you said you had, in your example just now,
Yes.
that you were going to give your BDT talk to convince a room of CEOs
Uh-huh.
in 30 minutes. Right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so in knowing you had to scale and change your talk, you have to adjust.
Yes.
And knowing you have to adjust for both time and audience,
Yes.
which would be the higher factor for achievers? Would it be, do you scale differently, more for the audience or do you scale more for the time?
For the audience. Yeah, for the audience, because if I see that I'm gonna be running out of time, I need to make sure that I start strong and I end strong. If in the middle of it, I chop things off because I'm running out of time, I need to make sure that at the start, I grab their attention. I'll say something that they'll go like, oh yeah, I'm all ears, keep talking. If I run out of time, they will not know what I've chopped off. They have no idea. So I need to end strong.
Okay.
Right? We end with the thing that they will walk away is like, yeah, that thing that he mentioned, I need to bring that to our guys, and we have to work on that.
Okay.
Arguably, that's scaling for time more importantly, because your regular talk should also start strong and end strong.
Any talk and every talk, yes.
And that's when I said both. Like,
yes,
you have to
yes.
scale for time. That's a hard limit.
Yes.
And it's a different audience, so it's a different conversation.
Right.
The value of the talk is different when you change either of those parameters.
Well, I think there's a perception because you're right in that aspect. But if you take Claudio's idea and you get such a good hook, they'll forget that they got the schedule and they'll stay and listen for later.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, you cannot rely on that.
You can never.
You shouldn't rely on it, but you hope for it.
If you know that that could happen, that they would stick around, okay.
Okay.
But you have to know that ahead of time.
But generally, you shouldn't plan on that at all.
Yeah.
There's
You should never plan for
there's
that.
concept of time management, right?
Yeah.
Plan time.
Yes.
Yeah, I have 30 minutes. I'm going to stick to 30 minutes, whether or not I can keep you for an hour or not. I'm going to stick for 30 minutes. And at the end of my talk, I'm going to say, hey, by the way, I have additional things on this. If you want to learn more, let's schedule some time for a longer conversation and a more in-depth talk. But that is still a well bundled 30 minutes. Audiences know. We know we're going to stay high level because CEOs, we don't want to get into the weeds, right? Like, the audience is different, the sell is different. Like, what is the purpose behind that talk? What is valuable to them is fitting their value into the time frame that you have.
Yeah.
You may not have an option if you are presenting somewhere where you only have a certain time slot.
Yeah.
And they will cut you off.
Yeah.
You may not have that option. So you may, and if you've got a clock, I appreciate that you want to start strong and strong. And that's for
Plan for it.
any presentation of any kind, your musical, talks, anything.
Yeah.
But if you have a time limit, that's it.
It's time boxing, right?
Yeah.
It's,
Time
hey
box
guys,
for you.
we have a meeting with our client. We're an hour in, we're coming up on time. Here's the action items we have so far. I'm open. I have nothing following up after this. I'd love to continue this if you can. If we got to drop, let's reschedule.
I'm
Right?
not-
That's like 5 minutes before the end of my meetings. That happens all the time. It's like, we're in the middle of talking about this. I can extend. If you can't extend, here's where we're at. So the AI picks it up, the transcript picks it up, and we'll reschedule a follow-up, right? But like giving the pausing, giving the option to escape because we screwed up on the delivery of time, right? Like, which is why it's equally as important as the audience. So
I see what you're saying. I think that the time boxing might actually be more important.
I think
At
time,
least in my experience over the years, time boxing is more important than
but ultimately it comes down to the effectiveness of the delivery, right? The effectiveness of the meeting or of the presentation, right? Was this a good use of your 30 minutes? And that comes down to, did you respect the 30 minutes? Did you think about, I only have 30 minutes, so I need to focus on this level of depth and knowledge to convey the points. This is all the things I want to convey in 30 minutes. How do I do that? Right.
Well, and I've had situation, the thing about making for a strong start, at least, or a strong end. I've had situations like at conferences where I gave a talk where somebody had to leave like halfway through, and they reached out to me saying, can I get a recording or something? Because I started strong. They're like, dang it, I do have to leave, but I like what you're saying. So the important, and also the other thing, I was like, oh, I only caught the second half. Do we have a recording for the first half?
I will say the build in public and like all that stuff, having the recordings available.
Yep.
To where I have to get up and walk out or go to something else, and then being able to pull back up not the transcripts, because
Yeah.
no one wants to listen to an hour-long meeting that they weren't a part of. But the summary
Mhm.
is super cool. Like that. We at Rodeo, we pre-AI, we did stakeholder meetings and stuff, and we were very good at recording them.
Yes.
With the goal being that after the meeting, like let's focus on the meeting. stay in the meeting so that you're not, oh, hold on, we got to type stories up. And then the intent was that their UX guy, who is also doing some of their VA work, would go back through and listen to the meeting and write out all the stories. And so like we finished the meeting and like it's like a 1 hour meeting and 4 hours of just playing the meeting, hitting pause, going back and list, trying to and it was like such pain. And now it's like with AI, it's like transcript. Tell me all the stories that happened in this meeting. And you're like,
Yeah.
paste.
And mind you, so I got used to working like that whenever I was doing stuff with Engage. So me and Claudio, we always do recordings and transcripts. That's just kind of our MO for years whenever I do the internal projects. My current client is financially limiting our amount of drive space, which also limits our recordings and transcripts.
Download the VTT, delete the recording.
There you go.
If you're allowed to, recording is normally the hard part, right?
Right, but my client is also a financial institution, so there's different.
Doesn't matter. It's worth asking.
Yes, it is worth asking, and we have done this before. Yeah. So
If they're allowed recording, make it a part of the process.
When,
Ahliana?
when you go to start and from, you're talking about the audience during your engagement, your hook is what's going to say whether they want to, I got to get back to that. So if you can really engage them and hook them in, beginning and ending, then you would do better with getting them to come back for either recordings or to meet with you later saying, I need to connect with you.
Yeah, you need to give people a reason to remember you
And
and the thing you shared.
that's part of
a positive
audience, figuring out your audience.
That's important.
yes,
So whoever in your audience may be a mix, but whatever, you can figure out that audience to grab them.
So yeah, when we can do that, like do the research ahead of time to know who's going to be in the room, know your audience. That's like one of the main things about public speaking of any kind. Know your audience, right? Absolutely. I want to hear from Matthew. We've been contemplating and hearing and soaking that in. Spread your
yeah. What would happen to your active listening, bud?
actively listening.
Or one-on-one sent.
Well, our one-on-ones in pretty smooth, but in the interest of time, I will end by saying,
Gosh.
yeah, we got 2 minutes.
That was my best.
It's really interesting trying to work a room filled with people who aren't really talking back to you, because your job is to come into the room to talk to them. And there are many variables. You're wondering about your own confidence, your mastery of the material that you should have studied prior to coming into the meeting, the quality of your slides. Is it too much information? Is it just the right amount? And some of this you can solve for pre-meeting, but a lot of the intangibles, like what is this person thinking? Am I giving them enough attention as I'm working the room? It gets in the way for me, and I'm still working through the process of allowing things to be what they are, meaning I am here to deliver, and whatever else happens is what happens.
100%.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
So you've seen me speak in different aspects of it. So sometimes I'll have talks where I don't allow too much audience participation, but I tell them beforehand. Other times I'm just interacting with the audience the whole time. Do you think it would be more beneficial than to carve out audience participation time with that help?
So it's not so much that I would be distracted by the audience. It's more of a personal problem. It is me worrying about things that are outside of my control.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if the audience wants to participate, fine. It's not like I have like preferences just yet, because I'm so new to this practice that I'm willing to try anything. So that means, hey, audience jumps in, or we do questions up front or after, it doesn't matter. In fact, I would like to play the game on hard mode so I can really figure out where the pain points are.
Next time you have a talk and you want me in there, I can do that for you. I don't know if you'd like it, but I can do it.
So I don't know if you know him, but my manager is Eric, and
Have you met Eric?
and I say that with all due respect.
You are aware that us combined is gonna be a very hard talk if you want.
I wouldn't say it would be hard. It would just be a challenge, and the challenge is something I'm always up for. It is 5 o'clock. Any last words, Claudio?
No, I think that's a great way to wrap things up. And I can attest to the fact that when we first started chatting about like you know, doing a public speaking, that was like, I'm working through the thing, right? You shared, you know, your fears and what, you know, what your concerns were. And I gave you some pointers, and it's been great seeing you work through that. And like the last talk I saw you give, or the one before last, I guess, at the Side Project Society, I'm like, that is the way to do it. Because you just like put your laptop, you started your presentation, you sat there and you started just telling a story. And eventually you stand up and you take a few steps and you're just telling your story. It's like that. People are not even looking at the slides or anything. They're looking at you because you're telling an engaging story, something that happened to you and it's unique to you. It's not something that people can go like, oh, let me Google that or let me ask ChatGPT for that. It's like, no, that is your thing. And people are like, keep talking, keep
Well, it's
talking,
also
like that.
You know,
Yes.
right? It's something that you know intimately. And,
That I've been working on for months and months and months at the time.
and that's back to the ability to sit down and just have a presentation. It's like, I know that material.
That's what
I'm
it comes out to.
comfortable in that material. You can ask me any question. If I don't know it, that's okay.
Yeah.
Because I'll either have an answer or go, oh, well, maybe it's like this or this or this, or like, I didn't know about that. Now I want to know.
Now I want to know, be curious. Yeah. Love it. Well, that's a great way to wrap this up. It was a brand new experiment. I hope folks in the room enjoyed or got something out of it. Folks online, folks who will be watching this at some point.
Until next time.
Next time.
Yeah.